Hello and a very good morning. A rainy London this morning. Well, a very good morning from Belgium. So I arrived here last night after driving in torrential rain and storms and like even the sea. I took a ferry. It was quite rough. I've been sick for the last 2 weeks, but I'm feeling a little better, and I thought if I don't get up and go, then I probably will end up being sick for much longer. And I had to be in Sweden the first week of November because I have so many appointments. And yeah, so I thought might as well just bite the bullet, get in the car and go. So it's going to be a very long trip, about I think 3,000 or 4,000 miles round trip, and I'm going to be in Sweden for a month looking at properties and places to live and areas and trying to figure out the next chapter of my life. But as always, I drive through Belgium, Holland and Germany to go up to Denmark and further, and I stop over at my sister's house. This time she's away herself with her husband to Denmark on a little week away, so it was just me and my nephew who cooked me a very nice meal, and I slept and slept and slept. Been so tired and shattered, but things have to be done. I've been sick for 2-3 weeks. Can't just keep being sick endlessly. Well, after 24 hours of torrential rain, it's sunny and warmish. It's 12 degrees, but it feels a lot colder because the humidity level is so high. But I'm heading towards the north. Once you hit Denmark and Sweden, it becomes much drier and feels less cold. Well, France and Belgium were fine. Just entered Netherlands and stuck in traffic. Amazing. Well, this time I've decided to break the journey into several parts because I'm sick. So, stopped in Belgium. Next stop is Lübeck in Germany. I'll stay there for one night and then head off to Sweden the following day. I'm looking at the traffic jam, and there's a traffic jam for as long as I can see, and oh my lord, I need to find another route. Good morning. It is the next day, day 3 of my trip. I am just about to leave Germany and jump on a ferry that will take me to Denmark. And from Denmark, I'll cross the bridge and over to Sweden. So that's what's happened so far. Last night I stayed in this little village or town. Don't know what it was. It was too dark to tell, in a hotel. And it was nice because I'm still not fully recovered, and it was nice to sleep for a good 7 hours, and left very early this morning because I wanted to get on my way. There's still, from the top tip of Germany below Denmark all the way to Gothenburg is about 8-9 hours. And of course you have to stop for lunch and stretching your legs and things like that. So it even prolongs the journey more. So I thought I should leave as early as possible. And thank God it's not cloudy and rainy. It's sunny and beautiful. So I am pleased. So I came to Sweden on Saturday and went to Gothenburg, stayed at the apartment, and then on Sunday. Yeah, I think so. I've lost track of time. On Sunday, I came to the northwestern part of Sweden, not very far, just about an hour and a half north of Gothenburg. And I'm renting a cottage, what actually turned out to be a house, quite a big house, which I thought was going to be a small cottage, in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. But what's amazing is that even in this middle of nowhere place has all the modern amenities, and it is such a beautiful house, so well maintained. The quality, the finish of everything is fantastic. So if anyone's interested in renting a place in northwest part of Sweden, I know a lot of Germans come here for holidays, you should definitely check it out. Message me and I can send you the Airbnb link, or just comment below and I'll reply with a link. But yeah, it is amazing. It has 3 bedrooms with double beds and an office which could also be converted into a bedroom. It has a living room, a kitchen, dining room, another dining room, conservatory area. It's like I was driving through the forest, and when I got to this place and I was like, that's quite a big place. Oh yeah, it has a jacuzzi, a sauna, and yeah. So when I stopped there, I was like, wow, someone made a lot of effort building this beautiful place in the middle of nowhere. And it's not like a summer house where you go and stay once in a while. You could live there 12 months in a year. Fireplace. Yeah, last night I had a fire. So overall it's been really good. I'm staying in this region because I'm looking at houses in this area to buy. So it's more convenient to stay locally and then travel every day. Sometimes like half an hour, sometimes it's an hour and a half to go and see a property. I've seen about 4 so far, and only one was good enough that I could consider buying, but I'm not 100% sure. It wasn't like a wow factor. I want something that I walk into and think, yes, I could stay here for 12 months. And fortunately or unfortunately, the Airbnb place is the kind of place I saw and I thought, I could live here for 12 months. But the guy doesn't want to sell it, and if I was him, I wouldn't sell it either. It is such a lovely place. It's like very, very hard to find places like that. It has high-speed internet and electricity and like all the normal modern stuff that you want. Dishwasher, 2 fridges, a washing machine, and it's like, and the floors are such good quality as well. So if I was him, I wouldn't sell it either, because it's something you could keep in your family for the rest of your life and pass it on to your children or your next of kin, because it is so good. Anyway, I saw one property which in the pictures looked quite good and big, so I was hoping it would be a good one, but unfortunately when I turned up, it was more of a cabin than a house. It had 1.5 bedrooms in the main part of the cabin, and then it had an outside guest house which was much bigger than the actual bedroom in the house. But no, I don't think it's a place where you can come and have a few weeks of holiday, but I don't think you could live there for an extended period. I'd feel very claustrophobic, or I would get cabin fever. So that's kind of struck off from the list, but there are 2 other properties with the same estate agent, realtor, that seem promising. So I booked another appointment for Thursday to go see them. Yeah, that's the update so far. Nothing exciting happening in my life. It's been raining pretty much every day. The countryside is beautiful, very picturesque. Every turn you make, there is a lake and these beautiful Swedish red and white houses. the only trouble I'm having at the moment is food. Since I can't cook, I'm having to rely on ready-made food, and some smaller supermarkets don't have ready-made food, and yeah, so it's not that great. But I guess once I live here, I can figure out how I can feed myself. Can't eat fast food and restaurant stuff here, because restaurants are very expensive here. That's one thing we don't realize, how cheap the food is in the UK. Anyway, enough of me rambling. I will shut up and report back when I have something useful to say. So after being in Sweden for 6 days, I've come to realize why this place is so nice and so relaxing, and also why people are happier here than other countries. There's very little competition, and there's very little show off, and everyone seems to be very equal in what they have and what they portray themselves as. Of course, there are several multimillionaires in Sweden, so I'm not saying that there are no rich people here, but what I'm saying is that they don't seem to have the same thing like we do in the UK, where everyone is showing off. There's a lot of flashy stuff, fancy cars, houses, clothes, watches, money. It's just being flashed around all the time. Whereas here in Sweden, there is nothing. I've been here for 6 days. I've seen 2 Porsches, 2 Range Rovers, and no Ferraris, no Lamborghinis, no Bentleys, no, I don't know, any fancy cars for that matter. In London, you see, I don't know, a few hundred every time you drive through the city. Yes, London is an exception. It's a very wealthy city with a lot of money and people coming from different countries, and they're sort of showing off, and everyone's trying to outdo everyone else, and it's a bit sad. But here, everyone seems to be driving a Volvo or an Audi, and if, I don't know, sometimes you see a BMW or a Mercedes, but even that's rare. And someone will say, oh, you're in the countryside, but I was in Gothenburg and I've been to Stockholm hundreds of times. It's not the same. And I think that's why people find peace in mental, I don't know how to describe it, that calm that you have in this place, because you don't feel inferior, you don't feel someone is better than you. Everyone seems to be the same. And yes, they're very wealthy Swedes, but even those, I think they don't show off, and if they do, I haven't seen it. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's so nice being here. Just want to find a little red house for myself now. And that's what I've been doing for 6 days. And unfortunately, I found one place that I couldn't buy. I don't know what happened there. I think the estate agent didn't really like me, or didn't like my way of bidding, because she was trying to get the bid closed on the same day, and was bidding, I was bidding and the other buyer was bidding, and she was texting us both and saying, let's do something, let's close this, and she was pushing. And I said, after like 8 o'clock at night, I said, look, I want to pause on this, sit on this for a day, and I'll come back to you, and I don't want to make any more bids. So I then followed up with her after a day, and she said, oh, the buyer has accepted the other bid and the property is sold. I think she just made a decision that I was not playing the game that she wanted me to play, and therefore she sold it to the other one. Because after the 24 hours that I said, I messaged her and I offered her 50,000 more than the previous guy, because I was sick and tired of those bids going up by 5,000. And I thought, if I do a big increase, the other person, if they're really serious, they'll counter it or they'll back out. And if they're really serious and they have more money, then they can have it. So when I told her that, she said, oh yeah, but it's already sold. And I said, can you have a chat with the seller? Because if you tell her that I'm offering 50,000 more, and then she called me half an hour later, or actually texted me, saying, oh, I've spoken to the seller and they said, no, the deal is done. So I was like, nah, I don't believe this. Because unless the other buyer was a friend of the seller. I don't understand why the seller would turn down more money. So, but I don't know the culture here, and I don't know how they operate. So I will leave it to a misunderstanding. And onwards and upwards, I've seen some more properties. Either the location is not nice or the property is not nice. It's really hard to find something in a good location, which is in good condition. But I'm going to keep looking. I've got another 2-3 weeks here. So let's see what happens.